It's really Duolingue. How did it? It's easy. Let's go through and see for ourselves. Hey, Sana. How could it be? The other side is directly connected to Langqiu's Anchor of the Apocalypse. Wait, so when we activated it before, it wasn't because I accidentally triggered it, but that little thing could activate it from the beginning. It was just waiting for the opportunity to locate Oxia, where entropy is. The truth behind the two activations, could it be? Are you guys okay? You two look so pale. Wait, this isn't due to the Sea of Data's influence. Songque, are you hiding something from us? So, are you hiding something from me? Everything I say is true. Then why don't you explain what's going on here? It had been some time since the girl was swept into the black torrent of shadows. Why did we end up here after you put out the nail? Well, this was quite a foreseeable development, even a necessary process, I would say. You didn't ask me beforehand, otherwise, you'd have known this was going to happen. It looks like I really need to change my way of communicating with you. So, where exactly is this place? And what about the residents of Amber Street? They do not yet exist. Fine, I'll try to do it your way. Could you accurately describe the nature of this place and the reason we are here? You catch on fast. Precisely speaking, this is Amber Street from 100 years ago, but we haven't traversed through time. The power of shadows stems from people's fears, and fear originates from people's hearts. Therefore, when the man infused his power into the 7 nails, a part of himself would inevitably remain, such as memories, I suppose. And since the nail we put out belonged to that man, it's not hard to guess which moment we are currently in. That man. Well, perhaps you've never heard of the Amber Street Great Panic, but for the man I'm thinking of, it was a great achievement, no doubt. Don't worry, this is just a fleeting resurgence. Even if we sit here doing nothing, the memories will disperse on their own. But if you're interested, feel free to roam around and witness the Toast's new approach to exorcism, though happen at a certain point in time. Can't you explain things a little more clearly? Remember the 10 manifestations I mentioned? Various calamities that came with the shadows. The Amber Street Great Panic was one of them. Although later categorized as one of the 10 phases of misery, when it first appeared, it was unprecedented, and there was no known way to resolve it. And now it's happening right before your eyes.
它就发生在你的眼前。
Don't worry, we'll get you out of this area in no time. I heard others are rushing over here as well, so everything will be fine. More importantly, no, it doesn't matter who comes. You haven't seen that monster. It's like... It doesn't matter who comes. It doesn't matter. It's not true. Everything will be fine. So you mustn't be afraid. Not be afraid? How is that possible? After seeing something like that, something humans are no match for. How could I? Don't worry, it's okay. I still have some of the flowers they developed with me. Dad? But why? How could a dead person still feel fear? Could it be? Monsters born from the shadows, I see. That's where the problem lies. As you witness, human fear gives rise to shadows, and shadows turn into calamities. But following this theory, the crops in front of you shouldn't be able to continue generating calamities anymore. You mean this wounded person we see isn't the true source of these monsters? Exactly, and the person who looks like an investigator in front of us will soon realize the key. The true source of the calamity in this area is in fact Amber Street itself. The street gained sentience. Maybe it just exploited a shadow loophole. In the beginning, there might indeed have been monsters here, but the incident quickly quelled. Later, a shadow-born epidemic began to spread in Amber Street, but it didn't cause much damage. What are you trying to say? These calamities aren't considered a huge threat. Unfortunately, people started to become suspicious. Why is it always Amber Street? Looks like you guessed it. Although the frequent appearance of the Temistry in Amber Street was just a coincidence, as rumors spread and anxiety took hold, the public began to fear that place. Since then, the unwavering fear of thousands of people eventually turned Amber Street into a colossal Pandora's box, and then no one could change it anymore. Monsters emerging from the shadows aren't so bad once you get used to them. Eliminating them is just a trivial task for sure. Even an ordinary person like the investigator you saw earlier could handle them. But even if you know it's all just rumors, how do you get rid of mass hysteria? It's common sense. No matter how much you believe, the rumor isn't reality. But the shadows provide the necessary conditions for that. Exactly. It might be similar to the principle of fear gathering. What happened later, that panic was eventually put to an end. But how? Simple. Litos was the first one willing to do it. How about we follow along? Perhaps we'll have the chance to witness it firsthand. Are you Duonigwe? Then the Master Litos. That's great. If only your shoe was still here. That dog. Have you seen it before? Consider it the direct reason for my arrival in Langqiu. What exactly is it? This is a long story. You can think of it as Lito's past, I guess. Although it was originally created by shadows, it always acted according to Lito's will. For example, just now, following Lito's order, it killed the unfortunate investigator in front of you. How could it be like this? Exactly. If evil is not eliminated, then take its place. That's the only way I can think of. Farewell, stranger. One day, I will sacrifice myself and repay the blood debt owed today. Death, whenever mentioned, is always treated as something invisible. In people's mind, This ominous presence, which resembles Stygian smoke, is only perceived at specific moments. And right here, this man cloaked in shadows, anyone's judgment upon seeing him would likely be the same. Death takes over the body like storm clouds forming all around. But before that,
然而在此之前，
do it,
动身吧，
dual 逆鬼,
格尔。
which is, however, perpetually skewed. Indeed, being haunted by death omen might summarize the man's past and aspirations, and in truth, what he's about to do bears a similar essence. Let's go and exterminate every single person in Amber
杀绝
Street.
境界。
Too bad. Seems like it's now the right time to end. No, I think I figured it all out. Since people's fear of Amber Street doesn't have an actual source, making it impossible to eliminate, then all you need to do is to provide a source. He killed everyone in Amber Street and used it as evidence,
并且以此作为证据，
claiming that everything was his doing, right?
对吗？
You've caught on quick,
这么快就
so
能理
do
解？
you also approve of his
难道
methods?
说你也认同这种做法？
No, was it necessary to go to such extremes? Why not? Anyway, as long as you step into Amber Street, ordinary people are bound to perish. Little's just changed the predetermined ending into a different form and shifted all the fear of Amber Street onto himself.
彻底转嫁在了自己身上。
Since then, he became the object of fear, and Amber Street gradually transformed into what you see today. Isn't it a happy ending for
渐渐变成了
everyone?
你今日所见的样子，不算是皆大欢喜吗？
In other words, since then, he has disguised himself as a villain. It's just a matter of time. Erasing certain part of the past is what Little's excelled at. I can assure you that the truth about the Amber Street Great Panic is probably known by very few people today. As you can see, this is just an insignificant past event if we see it from today. There were more memorable things that happened in Langqiu 100 years ago. Ultimately, shadows aren't a curse, but a rule. No one can give a definitive answer, but I guess you can say that. Otherwise, how could it give birth to such complex manifestations? Well, I have a question. If we did indeed activate the anchor of the apocalypse, reconnecting two worlds, what would happen? Well, let me ask you, why did the Shu separate the two worlds in the first place? Langqiu is just a prison, what it was meant to confine, or the root with the 10 evil manifestations. A distant disturbance that had once been heard rose to the sky again from afar, accompanied by a certain omen pointing towards the heavens, as if the end times were approaching. Anchor of the apocalypse. What did you do? I'm just a tool. Without your command, I can't do anything. It seems the nail that can pry loose Little's. You're really forced Unigui to return to Langqiu. You're learning from our way to deal with this matter, huh? My user, your opportunity to sneak into the city of Oxia has finally arrived. Not long ago. The ritual used as a stalling tactic has finally come to an end. So, just because you visited Langqiu, you are also plagued by the 10 faces of misery now. How could such a thing happen? Are you alright? It's just temporary, nothing serious. If something unexpected happens, it will be on me. You don't need to worry. So, what's the reason for it? If it's because of contact with those shadows, then why are there not any similar signs showing on the residents on Amber Street? After all, they have the fear gathering there. Before becoming the so-called malevolent entity, it was first used as nourishment, so it's naturally safe and stable. No wonder the fear gathering is so important. So without it, even if I don't starve to death, I will be attacked by those monsters. Bingo. But how, if I remember correctly, without the artifact, you shouldn't be able to complete the fear gathering, right? I used some tricks. The 10 faces of mystery didn't disappear, they're just hidden in our shadows. As mentioned before, it's just a stalling tactic. If we can't retrieve the gadget, we'll both have to face the music together. Well, seems activating the anchor of the apocalypse is urgent. Wei Songque, if we succeed, the phenomenon I'm experiencing, well, you're right to be concerned. If the world reconnects, Oxia will also be in danger. But why did you? I see. Figure it out already. Preventing you from opening the pathway would only result in your death, and I would die in a foreign land as well. On the other hand, the 10 faces of mystery might not be eradicated just because we die here. Instead, opening the pathway not only resolved the imminent crisis, but also waking up the other shrews, reenacting the events 100 years ago, ensuring peace on both sides, can't be too hard. I miscalculated. Even with all our plans, I didn't account for Duolingue secretly opening a pathway before. It didn't cause any commotion because they hadn't found Oxia yet, and was just moving in and out of the sea. As you said, even if we find a way to reconnect the world, the entire city of Oxia will still face significant risk. Let's meet up with Chen Xue first. Given the current situation, it's probably not up to us to make decisions. Oh, give me a moment. I have to wrap things up here before we leave. Message from Chen Xue. I wonder how long it took you to see this message. Or rather, I'd say the longer the better. Of course, it's not because of the inherent uncertainty of source matter, or even the vast difference between theory and practice. Regardless, you must always remember that the profession we've chosen is indeed extraordinary. On one hand, it sustains the existence of Oxia, and on the other hand, we seem to be just idling away our time. Don't rush to refute in your mind. Indeed, textbooks tell us that the sea of data holds endless treasures of all things, and through source matter, we can uncover any buried secret and obtain any resource we desire. But source matter itself is so elusive. Perhaps we can gain only 20% from its infinite possibilities relying on our professional skills, while the rest depends entirely on luck. In the past, there were people like us who came here but left in frustration without gaining anything from those observations. And there are also people like Professor You Yun, who discovered extraordinary things within a week, thus earning her fame. The most favored creator of art are humans whose hearts are torn apart by the frequent alternation between soaring and falling. However, for our profession, it's quite the opposite. You might fall for a long time without any gains. Learning to endure disappointment is the first lesson you must learn. But at the end of the so-called first lesson, I still want to say, fly entropy, soar to the highest you ever know. Unfortunately, I don't have time to study it carefully right now. The anchor of the apocalypse. Why has it?
怎么已经
？We're in big trouble.
我们遇上大麻烦了。
Why are you?
你怎么也？
Looks like both of you are aware
看来
of
你
some
们双
serious
方都
facts.
得知了些了不得的情况呢。
How about syncing up a little bit first? Wait a sec. I'm feeling a bit lost after speaking in unison with someone with a complete opposite
目
personality.
前还有些失落。
Perhaps we can take care of it for
交给
you.
我来给各
No
位代劳
need.
别，
They briefly recounted their previous experiences. I see. Putting entropy aside,
学梦者
now
都说
even
无所谓
oxide itself
现
might.
在连欧夏自身
Putting
都
that
可能
aside. Oh, I just think that this won't pose too
因为我
much of a
相信
problem
这
for
对你
you.
来说不是
But it
什么难
seems my
题。
own trip
不
to
过
Langqiu will have
看
to
来
be
我自己的
postponed
篮
for
球之
now.
行倒
The
是
curse
自己
born
开
from the
始
shadows
在
100
100
years
年
ago.
前
If it
诞生于
really
影子的
has the
诅咒。
potential to infiltrate
如果它
Oxia,
的确有
I
可
need
能
to
深入欧
mobilize an
夏，
entire
我
research
必须
team
得
for
动
more
员整个研究
preparation.
所，多做些准
As
备
for
工作
Dream
才行。
Seeker,
至于
continue
寻
with
梦
your
者，
studies for now.
你先继续完成自己的课业吧。
Yeah, according to what you all said, you've already
按
found the
照你们
crux
之
of the
前所
matter.
说，各位不是已经找到了
Other
事情
than
的
those
症结吗？
legendary
除了
shoes,
传说中
it
的那些
seems
事
no
物，
one else can
似乎
solve the
没人
current
能够解决眼前
situation.
的事态。
Since it's a task you found
既
for
然这是
yourself,
你自己
go
找到
ahead
的
and
课
complete
题，
it on your
就
own.
自己去把它完成。
Stabilize or
这
even
样
sever
所谓
the
的流浪石
connection
像
between
不会
two
在欧夏
worlds
肆
while
虐。
ensuring that
在
the
此前
tempest
提
of
下，
mystery
我
won't
们内
rampage
部重
across
新切断
Oxia
两个世界
or
之间
find
的
an
连接，
alternative way
又
to
或者我
solve
们
the
找到
current
别的方法
predicament.
解决眼前
But
的难
there's
题。
no need to feel
当然，
nervous.
你也不
Maybe
用
I'll
太过紧张。
unintentionally solve
说
everything
不定
before
我
you
会在你
do.
之
Who knows?
前一不小心就解决
Then
了
we
一切
should。hurry up and set off.
那我们可得赶
Should
紧
we
出
decide
发
on
了
the plan and who's taking
我
part
们
of
是
the
不是应
operation
该先
first?
确认一下行动的流浪
Entropy,
计
your
划？
words literally
寻梦
broke
者
my heart.
你还真是说了些特别让人
We
伤
haven't
心的话
explored
呢。
Langqiu
我们在
properly
狼区
yet.
还没好好
Are you
过
saying
呢
that some of us
难道
are
你觉
trying to
得
slack
会有
off?
谁想偷懒，对吧？可以啊
We can't just
没
leave
问题
you and find a
我
way
们
to
走出好
contact
抛
Earth
下
on
你
our
单
own.
独去寻找联络对
I
象
don't
的
want to
方法。
relax, but now we have gadgets back, and even if the 10 Faces of Mystery do come to Oxia, we can handle it.
真来了欧夏
But I can't force you to go through all of that again. I've suffered enough.
咱过去可遭
I
了不
knew
少
it.
罪
Well then,
我就知道。
wait.
那等等，
Why didn't you ask me?
你刚
Is
才
it
为什
because
么
I'm
问我？
Helia's
难道
subordinate?
就因为我算赫利亚名
I
义
thought
上
it
的
wasn't
部下？
necessary. You just say a few tough words with a poker face, then help when needed anyway.
然后该帮忙还是
Don't just
帮
put
忙
me
吧
in a box like that.
太老土
But since some matters on the other planet seem similar to the Herscher Authority, we definitely need to investigate.
我们倒的确有继续考察。弄清事实的
See,
必
what did
要
I just say?
我说什么来着？
Alright, it seems that everyone's on the same page. I'm looking forward to hearing good news from all of
那
you.
我就等着你们的好消息了。
How about
比
we
如
get
说
their
擒
leader,
贼擒王
Donigui,
先
first.
设法逮捕那个多尼戈尔
In order
人
to
和
accomplish this goal, everyone is about to return to Langqiu. However, at this moment, perhaps no one except for Song Que could predict. The century-spanning event which began with the death of a group of people shall end with the death of another group.
若颠木之有由孽，天其有我命与自心意。唉，学历史好枯燥。出发了。
3001 Calendar Edition. Why is it that some years have 668 days while others have 669 days? Astronomers tell us that a year represents our planet has orbited around the sun. In ancient times, people realized that the changing of the seasons was closely tied to the varying height of the sun at noon. They soon discovered that using the sun's height to calculate the time of the year was an extremely precise method compared to relying on inconsistent seasonal weather. The winter solstice, summer solstice, vernal equinox, and autumnal equinox gradually evolved into important festivals for our ancestors. However, astronomical observations relied on clear sky or very cumbersome. Hence, people invented a system that only required counting to estimate dates, which became known as the calendar. Initially, our ancestors believed the year consisted of 668 days. They divided into 18 months, each with 37 days, and added the 2 extra days each before and after the new year. However, after centuries of use, they realized that the new year was drifting further away from the winter solstice and closer to the summer solstice. It turned out that the time our planet takes to orbit the sun wasn't exactly 668 days, but slightly more. In fact, according to modern astronomy, it's approximately 668.59897 days. So, if every year had only 668 days, the new year on the calendar would be over half a day earlier each year. Over time, this discrepancy accumulated, causing the new year to drift further from the winter solstice and closer to the summer solstice. If the error accumulated enough, it would even surpass the summer solstice and continue advancing towards the winter solstice. To solve this problem, people invented the concept of a leap year based on the knowledge that a year is approximately 668.6 days long, with the precision of the measurement at that time. Ordinary years with 668 days were termed common years, while years adjusted to 669 days were termed leap years to correct the error. For common years, years ending in 1, 4, 6, or 8, January and the 18th month had 38 days, while the remaining 60 months had 37 days each. For leap years, years ending in 2, 3, 5, 7, 9, or 0, an extra day was added to the corresponding month. For example, the second month of the 532nd year had 38 days, the third month of the 533rd year had 38 days, the fifth month of the 535th year had 38 days, the seventh month of the 537th year had 38 days, the ninth month of the 539th year had 38 days, the 10th month of the 110th year had 38 days, and so on. In the first year that the leap year system was introduced, year 531 of the old calendar, people terminated the misaligned old calendar directly on September 22nd before the winter solstice and defined the next day, the new winter solstice, as the first day of the new year, year 532 of the old calendar. After this reform, the new calendar became stable for our ancestors for over 1,000 years without any changes. However, as history entered the modern era, people discovered through more precise calculations that the average year, assumed to be 668.6 days, was slightly longer, making it difficult to celebrate New Year's on the winter solstice. Therefore, using the modern calendar system of the era of relocation, further adjustments were made to leap years. It was decreed that years ending in 000 would be common years, not leap years. Hence, October of the future 1000th year and 2000th year will still have 37 days, and so forth. With these detailed adjustments, over 1,000 years, the average number of days per year would be accurate to the third decimal place, approximately 668.599 days. Although this still deviated slightly from the more precise 668.59897 days mentioned earlier, by designating the 33,333rd year, the 66,667th year, and the 99,999th year as common years, the accuracy would further be refined to the fifth decimal place over 100,000 years. Thus, our calendar became stable in relation to the seasons. Around the 38th day of the 18th month is the winter solstice, thus the 18th, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd month correspond to the winter season. Around the 30th day of the 4th month is the vernal equinox, thus the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th month correspond to the spring season. Around September 23rd is the summer solstice, thus the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th month correspond to the summer season. Around the 31st day of the 14th month is the autumnal equinox, thus the 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th month correspond to the autumn season. The reason why the summer season is 2 months longer than the winter season is also closely related to astronomy. Our planet experiences summer in the northern hemisphere when it's at the farthest point from the sun, slower orbital speed, and winter when it's closest to the sun, faster orbital speed. However, that may be a topic for another why.